Hi, it's a pleasure. My name is Matthew Amouyal. I'm here to interview you on the goings-on the case, the Benedict Agostini case that happened several years back. And your name for the record is?
Pamela Angotti.
Pamela Angotti. It's a pleasure. I thank you for your time today.
No problem.
And first, I wanted to go into what, as you were an alternate juror, what were your overall thoughts and impressions on the case, as well as your involvement in the proceedings, as to how long were you there? What were your thoughts on the witnesses and the testimony, the overall proceedings, your part as the alternate juror, etc., please?
Okay. I was there the entire duration of the trial, until the last day when they start their deliberation for the verdict. My overall impression was that, well, let me put it this way. If I was on there, I don't know that I would have agreed with the guilty verdict. I feel that a lot of things were, I don't want to say it, like, as a witness and on the stand, he was not a likable person. He was not likable, and that was when we went back for lunch or whatever, when we were discussing, that was evident, like that people were not liking him, which I think made it hard. But they loved the print-up family's witnesses. They loved the brother Lenny when he came on the stand. They were just more personable. I don't want to say it. Sorry. I didn't think in my head, even after listening to, all the witnesses, seeing the evidence, seeing the photos, I didn't see in my head how it would make any sense that he would have initiated this altercation. I would not see him and two girls starting an altercation with George Printup and the three men he was with, just due to his size. I mean, he was scrawny compared. It just didn't make any sense in that way. The police photos, the way that people described what the bar looked like at the time of the incident and what happened before they went outside, the police photos didn't match like how it was described by witnesses, by eyewitnesses. There was a lot of hostility between the families, even as jurors were walking down the street to go to lunch, or when at the end of the day, I remember somebody going to one of the lawyers saying a family member said something to me. It was hostile. It was very emotional for the people involved. It just seemed more like emotionally charged, the entire proceedings.
Understood. And as to your involvement there, you were privy to the entire case.
Yes.
What were your thoughts beyond that as to the overall proceedings, as to the witnesses? You stated that the witnesses, what they said didn't match the police photos. It didn't make sense for Ben to start that initiation, but yet altercation, but yet there was a lot of hostilities between the families, and there was an overall highly charged environment. Mm-hmm. Please tell me, these were your thoughts on the case in general, but could you elaborate any farther?
On any particular part?
Well, yeah, like about, again, the witnesses, for instance. You said that the witnesses...
Like I said, when Lenny, the brother, got on the stand, I will say it too. He was very personal. He was genuine. He didn't seem very rehearsed. He didn't seem... And I know they're prepped and they're supposed to be, but he was kind of gave it right back to Mr. Carey, Agostini's lawyer, and he seemed genuine. And I think that struck a chord with most of the jurors, that he was genuine. Where when Benedict got on the stand, he was a jerk, and I don't know the other way to say it. I mean, I guess if I was on trial for, what he was on trial for, I'd have an attitude, but he had an attitude. He wasn't likable. His girlfriend was made out to be, which I thought was unfair, but she was made out to be, kind of lazy, and lack of a better word to say it, because apparently she was a dancer before she had her child, or she was with him, or whatever. So that was kind of brought up and thrown in her face, and I think with the makeup of the jury, things like that were looked at in a negative way and kind of added into some of the thought process or thoughts on these people and what they would be capable of.
I understand.
Again, with me, I keep going back to it. I couldn't imagine it making any sense for him to start that. Was there any doubt that he actually did stab George? No, there wasn't. He blatantly admitted he did. Just the proceedings before that seemed just not right. They did not seem to make any sense. I don't care how drunk he was. I don't care if he was high or anything else. Things like that were brought up. It just didn't make a bit of sense for him to put himself in that situation. And I was not there for the deliberations, and so when the verdict came out, I was somewhat surprised, that he was found guilty.
Okay. So you're saying that the proceedings, in your words, the proceedings were from start to finish, were very, shall we say, misdone? It wasn't handled appropriately. What would your words be on that? I don't want to.
I don't know that they weren't handled appropriately as far as the judge and lawyers and all that. It just seemed. It seemed somewhat to have a little bit bias, I guess, maybe towards.
Okay, that's fair.
I guess.
Towards the plaintiff or towards the defendant?
Towards
Ben or towards the...
Yeah, I know Ben's the defendant, but bias, yes, towards him, but not in a positive way, obviously, in a negative way, he was made out to be, he was constantly in trouble, or why did he, have, there was even, they went on about why he had the knife in his car, and it seemed to be, without being said straight out, it seemed to be like there had already been previously bad blood between the two groups of people involved, and I don't know that that's true. That's just what it seemed to allude to.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. Okay, now let me ask you on a different line of question. Do you know how many jurors were originally for the acquittal of Ben? Were you present at that time, or maybe you know whose names they are, or how many?
I don't know how many were. I wasn't in there when they were able to when they did that.
Okay, no problem. Representing the Print-Up family was the first statement by the DA. This is something that I found to be strange, because in general, and accordingly sort of the judge, in general it's the state of New York against the plaintiff is who is being defended there, and the judge said, okay, please move on. No, he corrected him, and it seemed earlier from what you said that because of this there seemed to be already, even from the beginning of the trial, somewhat of a bias or prejudice against one character versus the other. Mm-hmm. Would that be something, am I overstating, would that be something you agree to, or?
Yes, I would agree.
Okay, let me say, all right.